Hello guys, welcome to my testimony part 2. I made this video already, I think this is my third time making it because the first one I made was very long and it was very fresh after the breakup. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not even explaining anything. Okay. The reason I am making a testimony part 2 in general is because after the first part, God didn't stop working. I wasn't even halfway through my journey, I don't think. I was a quarter into it, right? So God was still working on me, all that, right? So I just felt like I need to make a part 2 because so much happened after that. And I was still dating somebody when I made that video. And God delivered me from that relationship because it was very unhealthy. So after that, I just had this big giant transformation after that. And I just felt like I need to make a testimony part 2, right? But my first version that I made of this video was very fresh after the breakup. And when I was trying to upload it, because I did fully edit it, I finished it. And I was gonna post it, and I kept getting these obstacles I've never had before being put in front of me so that I couldn't post this video. And it kept being back to back to back obstacles for me to post it, and I never had issues like this about an upload before. So then I just felt like it was God putting it in my heart and stopping me from posting the first version of this video. I don't know why. Well, honestly, because it was very fresh after the breakup, I'm thinking that it's because it was very it came out almost in a bitter tone because I was very just telling unnecessary details, almost crap talking him, which isn't a good thing. And I kept saying in the video I'm not gonna say anything that'll make him look bad or anything because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm gonna he makes himself look bad. I literally said that. It came out very, very I said too many details to where it was almost gossip. So I need to I think that's why God was you can't post this first version, period, right? And then I made a second version a month ago, right? And I think we broke up in September 2025 and it is February 2026, right? And I made the second version last month, and for some reason I connected this mic to a MacBook and there was no audio to the video. It was super quiet, and I was about to edit it and I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? I really just remade it and now there's no audio. So I don't know what I still said wrong in that one, but God was no. But I also don't feel like God would not want me to tell my testimony because this story is so centric of his love, his mercy. I feel like somebody could take some really good advice from what I went through. And I just need to find a way to say it right now where it's not gonna be gossipy, mean or nothing, and more advice. I'm gonna start this off by saying, when I made my last testimony video, as I said, I was dating this guy, I think for 2 years at that point or something, and I was about to go on my 3rd year dating him, right? And I know he subscribed to this channel, so I don't know if he's gonna watch this, but if you are, God bless you. God bless you, because this video is going to be a different tone than the one that I didn't upload. So God bless you. I'm just playing. Okay, let me not start off on a bad note. Almost dated for 3 years. The way that this relationship started was already not good. All right, it started because we were sneaky links, right? And I've heard some people say however a relationship starts is how it's gonna end. and I'll explain that later. Throughout this relationship, even before we were Christian, I'm just gonna say I don't want to throw out terms, so I don't know if he was a narcissist or if he had like he had issues just like the rest of us, and basically he found like the perfect punching bag. Because I will say I think that in this journey God has showed me that I'm a very submissive person, so it's very easy for somebody to manipulate me or somebody to take control over me, because I'm very shy, very reserved and stuff, and I love hard, right? So it's has been a reoccurring cycle for me of like dating the wrong people, and people always taking advantage of me because I'm so easy to control and manipulate. And I think that the second that me and this guy started doing what we were doing, I think that's when he realized like how easy I am to mold into whatever somebody wants me to be. And because he also came in, I started doing that with him like straight after I had just gotten out of another relationship that was abusive, so I was in a very vulnerable place. And I would say this relationship was much worse than the first one that I had gotten out of, because this one was, we lived together, it was long-term abuse and manipulation and mind-boggling. Talking about before we were Christian, by the way. Okay. We had almost broken up several times because I started noticing. I'm not stupid either. Like, I know what bad treatment is, so I would try to leave, and he would always find ways to manipulate me and loop me back in the loop, right? So that's why we dated for this long. And I will just say, like, I've, like, some of my closest friends and family, like, every time I've told them, like, intimate details about what went on with him, they'll always say, like, how did you stay so long? Like, how did you not leave after that? And, like, I will say, like, only abuse victims know, but you won't know unless you're there. How the person will literally twist your mind and make you feel like you're crazy and you're stupid. Hear me out, alright? I know that this is very, like, all over the place right now, no good order, but I'm trying, okay? Because I've been very nervous about this, because it's just, like, I've been, like, honestly, God is working on me right now, but I'm very avoidant about this part of my life, because it was so traumatic that I just kind of, like, put it in a box. But God gave me, like, a prophetic dream recently, and he was like, you're never going to be happy unless you work through your trauma of what happened with him. Like, you need to open that box, and you need to remember, you need to feel, and you need to work through it. And so that's what God has been doing with me. And it's been awful. But this is part one of my healing. All right, this is me opening the box right now, but like a little bit, because I can't tell y'all details. Anyway, so this is how manipulation works. For anyone that has not been abused and manipulated, and like this girl's like, he hit me up across the face, and you're like, how did you not leave after that? I'm gonna explain why, because that has been one of the most irritating things to me. When, like, after this, when I've told people he did this and that, they were like, how'd you not leave? I'd be like, I tried. Let's say I literally just got these today. I ordered, okay, TikTok shop kind of got me, but I have very small ears. So when I saw that they had JLab minis, I was like, hold on. Y'all, this is not an ad, but look how small they are. I like this. Anyway, so I'm going to use these as the example. Let's say I just got these today, and I'm like, I really like these. They're so, like, they're fire, right? And I leave them on the table. This dude takes them, and I see him using them, and he won't give them back. And I'm like, hey, can I have, like, my headphones back? Like, I just bought them for me. Like, can you get your own pair on the low? Like, why are you stealing mine, right? He's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I do so much for you. Are you serious? I literally I took you out to eat yesterday. I took you out to eat McDonald's yesterday, and the other day I took you to Pizza Hut. I'm always spending all this money on you to give you food, and you can't even just let me have this pair of headphones. Like, are you serious? Well, I didn't think it was that serious. Like, I literally, like, I just bought them, and like, they're mine. Like, to buy your own headphones like this costs a lot more than like some McDonald's, you know? Well, you know, I don't have any money to buy my own headphones. Like, I don't have money to buy anything because I'm always spending money on you. I'm always spending money on you and your food. So how am I ever gonna buy headphones? You can't do this one thing for me. I do so much for you. You can't do this one thing for me. No, I literally want my headphones. Like, just give them back. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'll buy you your own pair if you want. I need this pair right now. That's why I bought them right now. See, you're so selfish, bro. Like, my grandma literally died. Like, my grandma literally died. You can't let me have this pair of headphones, bro. Like, my grandma literally died. Okay, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Just keep up. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry. That was not a good example, but what I'm what I'm trying to say is that they always do that thing where they reverse victim. So they'll do something to you and then they'll manipulate you into you apologizing to them. Like, he would make me cry, and somehow he'd turn it into me saying sorry to him because I'm always nitpicking him or trying to change him, when this is just the way that he is, and he has this trauma and that trauma, and this is why he's like this. And it's just like making excuses to not change, or he'll say he'll change, but he's never gonna do it. They just say it and they say it and they say it, but you don't see it in their actions. And you bring this up, like, you keep saying you're gonna change, but I'm not seeing the change. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, you're always rushing me, like, you're always trying to, like, you're nitpicking me, I walk on eggshells around you now. And then you start being like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like you need to walk on eggshells. Like, I'm just trying to, like I need, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want you to better yourself because you're hurting me. And they're just like, well, why are you with me then? Well, then leave then. And then if you're actually like, okay, I'm gonna leave, they're like, oh no, I love you, I'm so sorry, I love you, here's a ring, I love you. So I had a lot of just that, like, manipulation, abuse and stuff. And when I became Christian, he kind of went on the back burner because I was so focused on God. And at that point, we still lived together. People at church made it very clear to me that you can't be living with somebody that's not your husband, because you're just going to be doing wife things and you're going to end up fornicating and all that. It's like basically just putting yourself in the ultimate place for sin and for pretending to be husband and wife. So they explained that to me, and I didn't really have a way out because I was living with him and my mom at the same time. That's when I think, by God's grace, well, at the time it was very sad, very heartbreaking and stuff, but my mom kicked us out over something like super stupid, right? So that's why I know it was probably God, or it was God. But we started living apart. I started living here at my sister's house, and he started living at his mom's house, which we still had sleepovers and stuff, but it wasn't like we're living together, you know what I mean? And then, while God was convicting me of, like, all the things that he had to convict me of at the time, right? Which I think I spoke of in my last testimony, I'm not completely sure, but God worked on me brick by brick. Okay, I'm so grateful to him because he worked on me brick by brick. And through, like, he's so merciful because my biggest sin at the time was, like, fornication. I think I even spoke about this in my last testimony video too. I, like, told you guys, like, that I was fornicating with my man and that I was still working on it. And even through that, even through me knowing I shouldn't do it and, like, still doing it, because it was like, it's a 2-person, like, game, right? It's a, like, obviously I'm gonna elaborate why I kept doing it, but I still at the end of the day was doing it. I was saying yes. So me knowingly doing that and following God at the same time, he still was so merciful, and he would still give me visions. He let me hear his audible voice. He, like, let me feel him at church. Like, literally, like, that's how you know God really just meets you where you are. Because at the time, I really thought this man was my husband, and I was always praying for him, always, like, just praying to God, like, please help our relationship, like, please help us so that we stop fornicating and da da da. And God really met me where I was, because I like God had this huge plan for me. Like, have you seen those pictures where it's like your plan is like one rose and God's plan is like this big thing? That's literally what it was. Like, I kept praying over me and this man, and God was probably like, shorty. Through this time, I was really struggling with that, because I let him know, I was like, hey, I don't want to fornicate anymore. Like, this isn't right. We need to stop, basically. Like, because I was like super on fire for God. With all the abuse that I was going through, imagine what happened when I was trying to take away this man's like biggest addiction issue he had. I think he had some kind of trauma happen to him where he felt the need to fornicate like every single day. Even before I was Christian, he wanted to do it like every day, and I would tell him like, hey, we need to slow down. It's like, it hurts me. It's starting to hurt. I don't want to do it this much. But if I even went 2 days without giving in, he would start saying, it's been 2 days. Are you serious? Like, you're really not going to give it to me? Like, and with that came silent treatment, or he would just treat me like crap until I gave it to him. Or, yeah, basically he would just treat me like super horribly until I gave up. Or he would give me the silent treatment. And when you're somebody's partner and you're living together, you just want to have a good day. And I just wanted him to stop treating me like that and stop giving me silent treatment, so I would just give in. And most of the, like, and I'm still saying, before I was even Christian, like, I didn't want to be doing this. Like I would always be like just not wanting to do it, and I was like just doing it so like you would leave me alone, basically. That's really how it felt. I was just like, when we were done, I was like, oh my gosh, he's finally gonna leave me alone. And then sometimes still in the same day, he'd be like, I want to again. And I'd be like, bro. And if I said no, he'd be like, oh my gosh, you don't even want me. You probably want this other guy. You don't even like it, like da da da. And he would just like, and I would be like, no, I do, like, cause I'm nice, like, I'll feel bad. I'd be like, no, I do, like, da da da. He'd be like, so why don't you want to, da da da. And like, it was just like a whole thing, bro, even before we were Christian. So then when we were Christian, I was like, okay, bet. So now, like, not only for me, but I can do it for God. Like, that I don't want to be doing this with him, right? And when I brought it up to him, I think that in times he like pretended to be compliant, like he was gonna do something so that I would shut up about it, but he didn't really mean it at all. Because I told him I don't want to fornicate anymore for God, and like, this isn't right, we can't be doing this. And he said, yeah, that's fine. Like, he would like put on this fake nice face sometimes, even though he was like so mean. He would sometimes just like put on a fake nice face, because like that's what would keep me looped in too, because I'd be like, oh well, he's not all bad. The other day he took me out to eat and we had such a good time, and then today he screamed at me and called me stupid, so I'm so confused now, like you know. And it was like, abuse is hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. So it was like, it really loops you into this like mindset of like just absolute mush, because you're like, today he was nice, today he was nice, and then tomorrow he's mean, and then the next day he's nice. So it's like, who are you, bro? Like, are you a good person, or are you not? Is this something you can work on, or are you like gonna be this forever? Like, and then you just get, you start to crave the warm moments. You start to just like wait for the next nice moment or validation, and that's all you want. And because you love this person, I just put up with it, and like you're like, he's not all bad. He's not a bad guy. He can change this. This isn't forever. And that's what happened to me. But he put on this fake nice face, and he was like, yeah, like we can stop, but you can't just make me stop cold turkey. He was like, because he used to smoke too, and we both quit smoking, but like now people have told me they don't think he actually quit. Like they think that whole time behind my back he was probably smoking weed. And I'm like, are you serious? But at the time he said, I quit smoking, I quit drinking, I quit da da da, and now you want me to cold turkey also cut off having sex. He was like, what do you want me to do to relieve my stress? He was like, he started blaming me, which is so horrible, right? Like he started being like it's your fault, like you're the one that won't let me smoke, you're the one that won't let me drink, you're the one that won't let me have sex, like you don't let me do anything, you don't, like, what do you want me to do to relieve my stress? Like I'm gonna go crazy. Like he would literally be like that, and I was just like, bro, I was like, not me, God doesn't like these things, and you're supposed to be doing it for God, not for me. I'm doing these things for God, and it was easy for me to quit smoking. It was easy for me to do these things because I had genuine faith. And now I know that he didn't have real faith at all. He just was pretending to be Christian because I think he knew that like when I found God, like, and he saw that God became my everything, I think he just realized, like, I think he probably felt like, oh, this is my downfall, bro. Like like he was probably like, damn, now I gotta pretend to be this Christian man. Like, because people like that, they'll just mask, they'll just become whoever they need to be. Not in like a they're gonna be nice now, but like they put on this mask to fit whatever you want them to be so that they can keep you in as their victim. Basically, they don't want to restart with a new victim. So he was like, ugh, I already put in all this time, all this work with manipulating this girl, so now I gotta pretend to be this Christian man, right? Like, he never had real faith, and I know that because after this, he has went downhill so bad after, like, me, because he went back to, like, his actual real self. But yeah, he was all like, I quit all these things, and now you want me to quit having sex cold turkey. He was like, basically he introduced this whole like weaning process thing. He was like, well, first we'll go with doing it twice a week, and then we'll go to once a week, and then we'll go to once every 2 weeks, and then once a month, and then we won't do it at all. And I was like, how many months plan is this? And he was like 3 or 4 or something, and I was just like, but I loved him. I was like, this is my husband, like we're gonna work this out. So I was like, yeah, that's what we'll do. And honestly, I don't remember too much, but I think he followed it for like a couple weeks to where it became once a week, and he was like, I can't do this, I'm going crazy, I can't do this. And then he somehow would manipulate me into doing it with him. And every time I did it, I felt awful after. I felt the Holy Spirit, and I felt so guilty, and I felt dead, because sin literally leads to death, bro. Like, it really, really does. It really does lead you to separation from God. And I'll go more into that in a second, but I realized, or let me just get into this. Eventually in the summertime, because this goes on for months, me going to church, trying my best, and then dealing with this man. And he stressed me out so much. Like, honestly, I had no color in my face. The only joy in my life I had was God. and seeing him at church, and I constantly would go to any church extracurricular activities because I just wanted to feel God, because that's all I could feel, because I was so depressed. And like, ask anybody that knows me in real life, like, I was literally a walking robot, and that was my life. And then I lost my job in the summer, or I quit because the lady put her hands on me, the manager, so I quit. And I thought I was gonna find a job quickly, and I didn't. But summertime came, and all of a sudden, because I don't even think this man's own mom really was too fond of him, I'll just say that. So she gave him a time limit to move out. And it came up that his aunt's she lived in an apartment, little tiny apartment, and it was a duplex. She lived on the bottom level, and the people on top moved, and it was really cheap rent, so she brought it up to him, and he basically ended up getting the apartment. It was like, move in with me, and I was like, we're not married. I'm not gonna go back and do the same thing that I did before that I was delivered from. Like, we're not married. I'm not moving in with you, period. And I said that to him, and he was like, are you serious? Like, the thing I said earlier, that's literally was him. He was like, I do so much for you. I never ask you for anything, and you can't do this one thing for me, which is completely not true, because I did so much for this man. There were multiple times in our relationship, and again, I don't want to gossip too much, so I won't say too much, but there were multiple times in this relationship where I financially provided for him and took care of him, and he multiple times had no job, and I paid for all his food and all the bills when we lived together. So I put up with a lot with this man, and I was a wife to him. I took care of him. I gave him food. I clothed him. He didn't even have clothes. I bought clothes for him. I did much more than a wife even should do for a man. And then he was like, but I don't ask you for those things. You give me those things. I don't ask for them. And I never ask you for anything. I'm asking you this one thing. I need you to move in with me. And I was like, no. Like, no. And he was like, are you serious? Like, I do all this for you? Da-da-da. This man harassed me to no end for like a month, because his move-in date was like July 1st or something. So like all of June or something, he like just tormented the crap out of me. Like, just on random days would send me like giant paragraphs, like essays, like dude wrote the whole book of Psalms about like, move in with me. And I was like, no. And I kept trying to change the subject. I kept trying to be like, dude, like, chill out. Like, I'm not moving in with you. At one point, we got, like, into a big spat about it. And he was like, I was literally taking care of his mom's dogs because she went to Mexico over the summer. So I was literally at his mom's house taking care of their dogs for them. And he was at work, and he was literally texting me saying, get out of my house. I can't trust you anymore. Get out of my house. And I was like, are you serious right now? He was like, yeah, get out of my house. Like, we're taking a break. I need to think about some things. I can't do this. And I was just like, and I remember I cried so hard, and I cried out to God and stuff. And like, I felt horrible. And I didn't know what to do, because he like would not leave me alone about it. And then he made this promise. He was like, if you move in with me, I will marry you in November. He was like, so if you move in with me right now, like August, September, October. So we moved in July, because then he said, in 4 months I will marry you. You can't just live in sin for 4 months and then we'll get married and everything will be okay. He was like, you really can't just endure it for 4 months. And then at first I tried making like a compromise with him, and I was like, I'll move in August. I was like, okay, fine. This is going to be our compromise. I'll move in August so that it's only 3 months before we get married. that's when I'll do it, right? Like, he didn't even propose or nothing. He was just like, I'm gonna marry you in November, so. And I was like, when are you gonna propose to me? He was like, in November. And I was like, so are you just gonna propose in November, or are we getting married in November? And he would never clarify that, by the way. He would not clarify that to me. He was just like, we're getting married in November. Basically, shut up about it. And I was just like, okay. So I tried to do this compromise. I was like, I'll move in August so that I have a month to like get my stuff together and like not move out in a rush, because I was like, I don't like moving out in a rush. And he would kept harassing me, just being like, why can't you just move in now? And it started off with me just coming over to visit him in that month, and then I started bringing thing after thing after thing, because I was hanging out so much at his house and I needed this and that, and like I didn't have a job, so I was just kind of like applying and sitting around, and like I had no money for gas. So I literally, like, when I would go to his house, sometimes I'd realize I ran out of gas, and I'd be like, hey, can I have some gas money? And he'd be like, no. And I think he did that on purpose, because then I would have to stay for like a hot minute, because I was too like, I've always been like really bad at asking for help, so like I never wanted to ask anybody to come pick me up, so I'd just be there. Like, bro, I can't stand myself sometimes. But and then I never fully moved in, because something in my heart, I think God was like telling me like this relationship is coming to like a soon end. Like, I don't know why, but I just felt it in my heart to not move all my stuff over there. So like when I moved in, I only moved in like half of my stuff to his house, and I left the other half here at my sister's house. And my sister, she didn't mind, because she didn't want me to even be with this man. So when she saw that I kept 1 foot in the door here and 1 foot over there, she was pleased, honestly. So she was like, you can keep your stuff here, right? But I moved me and my cat over. We had 2 cats, right, at this point. And I ended up fully moving in that month anyway. Well, obviously not all my stuff, but I basically ended up moving in that month anyway, because he wouldn't stop manipulating me and being like, you're already here, why don't you just move your stuff in? Like, just stay here. And I think he genuinely just wanted me there, because free maid, free cook, free punching bag, free sex, like, hello? He had it all. He literally had it all for the free skis. Like, because I won't bully myself too much, but anyway, because I moved in with this premise that we're getting married soon and we're not fornicating a lot. But of course, me being there, he forced me a lot. Okay, that's all I will say, because that part of the trauma just like really hurts. Like, it makes my head start to hurt, honestly. But during this time that I was living there as well, well, actually, let me say this first. The second that I moved into this apartment, complete silence from God. Complete silence. I think that when I did this, it was the biggest definition of sin separates you from God. Because the second that I did this, when I went to church, I didn't feel anything. I used to always feel the Holy Spirit. I used to always feel God. I used to always cry at church because I would feel his beautiful presence. And the second I moved in there, nothing. Like, I literally was there, hands up, couldn't feel anything. I was numb. I was depressed. Every day felt the same. I was applying to jobs back to back, and I couldn't get one. So I felt stuck, because this man was my provider, and he was scary, he was abusive, but at that time, all I had was my cats. That's all I can say. I had my cats, and I had my faith, because I continued to always pray, and I prayed without ceasing. I always called out to God, and I was like, please help me, like, I can't find a job. Like, I feel so alone. I need your presence. Like, damn, I didn't think I'd cry again thinking about this. It was awful. Like, I never want to feel that separate from God again. It was so awful. Like, I just feel like that was, like, just my wake-up call, bro. Like, because ever since then, like, I will always try my best to be obedient. Even, like, I don't know how, I don't even know what to say. But I still continued to go to church because I didn't have a job, so obviously I could still go to Wednesday service, Sunday service, any extracurriculars. I still kept going, praying, reading my Bible. I was journaling a lot. I don't really journal anymore. I probably should pick it back up. But I was doing all the things because I felt, and I couldn't feel anything. I feel like God did not speak to me at all, and on a regular basis, God speaks to me in different ways. And in that time, nothing. Literally nothing. It was like, I feel like during that time, God was like, you chose him over me, so you need to sit in that for a while, my child. That's literally what it was. Because he was just like, for real. I was like, God, please bless this marriage. Please help me. Please, help his anger go away. Please help this lust go away from him. Like, please help him. And God was like, and also during this time, my mom decided to move to Mexico because she didn't have papers, and to be completely honest, she did not want to work. She was not the type of woman to want to work. She did not want to work. So, and I could not provide for her because I had no job. So, she basically ended up moving to Mexico during this time. And I was like incredibly heartbroken about this. I was literally like crying, sobbing and stuff. And this dude used that as an excuse to, by the way, he was working with my dad at the time because I got him a job with my dad because he would always get fired from his jobs. So he was working with my dad, and he literally called off and told my dad, like, because I'm comforting Karen. She's sad that her mom moved away to Mexico, and he spent that whole day playing video games. I'm not going to gossip. Just move on from the awfulness, okay? Because I'm a goofy person, and this video's getting sad, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I'm itching. And then, like, 2 months into moving there, right? I'm being a housewife. I'm getting screamed at. I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, I'm doing all the things. And then this dude says, I think we're too young. I'm not ready to get married. I think I'm too young. I think we should get married in the spring instead of November. And I was like, buddy, I moved in because you kept saying we're gonna get married in November. Are you serious? And he was like, I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready. Oh, yeah, and then he came up to my dad, and he didn't ask my dad to marry me. He came up to my dad and was like, so I'm gonna marry Karen in November. And my dad was like, you're not ready for that. My dad gave him like a whole speech. But that wasn't what made him turn away from it. Because like after that, I think he got more prideful, if anything. And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to do it just to spite this dude, basically. But then after thinking on his own, I guess he was like, I'm not trying to marry her. Which is crazy. So blessed with me, honestly. He was so blessed, bro. Like a girl that loved him through thick and thin. Like, where are you gonna find that again, bro? Be for real. Then, one day, I went to my friend Yomali's house, and I was already feeling it deep in my heart that, like, I needed to leave this place. Like, after he said that, like, I'm not gonna marry you, I was like, I need to go. And I kept feeling it, but I just knew it was gonna be a lot. Because at this point, I had furnished his apartment. I had paid for all the dishware, all the pans. I had bought everything in the bathroom. I had bought, like, he was using my bed, my desk chair, my desk. Like, I had furnished his apartment. And then he said this to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? I was like, even if I were to want to pack all these things and go, I bought so many things. My sister just recently let me have this room. I used to have this tiny box like room. Like seriously, like the most miniature room ever. Like literally like a closet. Okay, that's the size of my room. I was like, I bought all these things. Even if I wanted to like be petty and like take the dishes and stuff, where am I gonna put them? I was just like so stuck. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? So I remember I went to my friend Yomali's house, which is full circle because she's the one that I went to that church with when I like switched to being Christian, okay? You remember that moment when I went with her and we were like being held together and we were like crying and stuff together, if you watched part 1? That same friend. I went to her house and I was talking to her mom, and her mom is very Christian, very nice lady, very preachy lady, very period. And I was just talking to her and I was like, I don't want to displease God anymore, like da da da. And she like gave me this whole beautiful speech where she was like, God doesn't see you through your sin. He sees you through the blood he washed you in. Like, he is not looking at you for your sin. Because whenever I asked people questions at this time, I was like, it was always about sin. I was just like, am I saved? Am I saved because I'm still sinning, like, over the fornication because I didn't want to do it and I was, like, being forced into it. And, like, obviously, yes, there's a moment where you say yes before it happens. But I didn't really want to, bro. Like that's all I'll say, okay? I really did not want to. So I was like, dude, like, every time I was bringing up questions, it was about sin. And I was like, am I saved? Am I saved? And she was like, you are saved. God sees you through his blood. Like, you literally... Like, the fact that you care so much about what God thinks of you tells me you have God in your heart. And, like, she just gave me, like, this whole, like, beautiful speech. And I just was, like, crying in front of this woman. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I'm sorry. And she was like, it's okay, right? And then that same day, I just, like, had the revelation. I was like, I need to go. I can't live here anymore. Like, her speech just moved me. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I need to get out of here, period. So I started separating our clothes out of the closet, and same day too, I found a video from Girls Gone Bible. I don't know if they posted it that same day or recently or whatever, but in the video it said, like, how to know, like, that you're idolizing your partner. I had no idea this whole time. I had heard about idolatry. I had heard about idolizing your phone, idolizing this, idolizing that. But I never thought that I was idolizing my boyfriend at the time, which is crazy because my whole life was surrounded around him, basically. I was so focused on God, but at the same time, I couldn't go nowhere if this man didn't say yes. I couldn't, all that was in my head was, how can I make this man not scream at me today? How can I walk on eggshells on this man today? How can I please this man today? And somehow it never clicked to me that I was idolizing him. But this very day, I had that speech from her mom, and I was separating our stuff, and I found that episode that said, how to know you're idolizing your partner. And I was listening to it while I was separating my stuff, and I just, like, burst out crying again. I was like, oh my gosh, my Lord, how did I not see this? I have been idolizing him this whole time. I have been putting him above you, and I didn't even know. Like, it's like another, like, this is my veil. Again, bro. When he got home that day, I was like, okay, so, like, I want to break up because I need to work on myself. Like, I love you. I'll always love you. Maybe in a couple months we can try again, but, like, I need to go. And then that same night, he was like, let's go get Taco Bell. How did I not know, bro? Like, he used to manipulate me so much through, like, giving me food. Like, somehow. Like, he would be like, oh my gosh, no, she's getting close to, like, realizing, like, who I am. Let's go out to eat. And while she's eating the food that I'm giving her, like, I feel like he would find it as a way to guilt trip me, like, I just bought you food. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that, bro? It's Taco Bell. I thought of it as, like, a cute, like, last meal until we meet again, because I was still in love with him. So I was like, oh, we can get back together, like, in a couple months or something after I'm done working on myself or whatever. That was my plan, my original plan. And because I was still manipulated, right? And that same night he was like, can't we just like take a break? Can it just be like a break? Like we can just see each other like once a week on the weekends and like that's all, but like I don't think we should fully break up. Like let's just like see each other once a week. Like it'll be like a cool down period. And I was like still in love, very sad, crying, vulnerable, and I was just like, yeah, let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. Tell you guys the tea, but I can't tell you guys the tea. So long story short, I started to move. My cousin Jenny helped me move all of my stuff out of his apartment one day. And I was also heartbroken because he was keeping one of our cats, and because he always would say, that's my cat, even though I took care of her. So I just took like my original cat I had, and I had to leave her behind, and I took my stuff. And that same week, he injured himself at work, and he manipulated me into staying for like another good like week or two, because maybe just 1 week, because he was like, you're really gonna be like that? I'm your partner of how long? I did all this for you. We've been all through this together, and you can't just stay here to help me, to support me while I'm injured. Bro, it was one finger. Anyway, I can't gossip. I can't do it. After that endeavor, I finally left. And he continued to like come over once a week, whatever. But honestly, I already had it in my heart that like we were coming to an end or something. You know, like I just felt it. I felt it in my heart. But like I didn't want to accept it at the time too, because I was just really sad and like honestly thinking about the cat and like just a lot. And then one night, I was just up late at night, and I was just like, I think I'm ready to get baptized. Because at this point, like, I wasn't really having, like, relations with him like that anymore. Like, maybe once every 2 weeks, because he would manipulate me into doing it. Because this break wasn't really a break. We were still texting every day, and he would come over, like, on the weekends or whatever. And, one day I was just like, I think I'm finally ready to get baptized, because like my church told me like you can't get baptized if you're living with him, because like you're living in sin, which like period, honestly, that they said that to me. And I wasn't living with him again, and I was like, just like, I think I'm ready to get baptized. And like I was like, my birthday was October 2nd, and I was like, oh okay, like, and the following Sunday after October 2nd was October 5th, right? So I was like, rebirth and birthday the same week, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't know, I just was like, I honestly wanted to get baptized on my birthday, but I knew that it would be inconvenient for my church, so I was like, I'll just do it on the following Sunday. Maybe I'll get baptized October 5th. I hadn't completely decided, you guys. I wasn't, like, completely ready, but I was just like, maybe. But then I couldn't get it out of my mind. Like, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about it. And people always say that, like, when you're ready to get baptized, you literally can't sleep, right? So I could not sleep. I was always thinking, like, I want to get baptized. Even though I'm so scared, because I hate being in front of people. But I was like, I want to do this. So I went to my church on a Sunday, like 3 weeks before or something. And I think it was the beginning of September, and I went up to the pastor with my minister, and we were like, she wants to get baptized October 5th. And he was like, that's fine with me, but you have to speak to my wife first, because I guess she's like the counselor, kind of. Like, I think if you're a guy before getting baptized, he would speak to you, and then if you're a woman, she would speak to you. So I had like this whole like hour meeting with her, and because we have to take classes before we get baptized too, and I had already took my classes like a long time ago, so like I knew what was up, right? Like, they just want you to really know what baptism signifies, what it is, so that you know exactly what you're getting into and what you're doing when you do it. And I had already had my classes like a long time ago, so I spoke to her, and she was like, you had the classes, right? And I was like, yes. And then she was like, she just gave me this whole speech, and she told me like, if he wants to get baptized, he's not ready. Because they were always watching us, and I didn't know that, but they would see that I was consistent. I was there every single week and that he would never be there. And if I was able to drag him to church, I didn't mention this because I don't want to gossip too much, right? But it was a constant battle with him, which again shows me that it was just a facade. Basically have to drag him to church whenever he came. He barely ever came, because before he came, he would make it this big fight and battle and make me cry and like da-da-da. But she was like, it doesn't seem to me that he's dedicated to the Lord. That's all she said, right? And then about him. And then she was like, she looked at me and she was like, if anything in your life is making you bitter, you have to let it go before you get baptized. She was like, you can't have any bitterness in your heart. You can't have any sins that you are willfully doing. You need to repent and let it all go. But the second that she said, if there is anything that is making you bitter in your life right now, let it go. I immediately thought of him. I immediately thought of my ex, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's making me bitter. And that same night I went to, it's crazy how God works, because it was like so like perfectly timed. Like his timing, oh like perfect, bro. The same exact day. I went to my cousin Jenny's house that night and we were just talking about my relationship all of a sudden, and she was like, and I was talking about the fornicating because I couldn't stop talking about this all the time. Just like, he won't stop. Like, he always ends up like making me do it. And she was like, well, that just shows how much he respects you and your faith. He doesn't respect you or your faith because he keeps making you do that. And she was like, what are you scared of? She was like, what do you think would happen if you really put your foot down and you really said no? Like, you really never gave in again. And I was like, I think he would leave me. And it's good to be asked those questions sometimes, for real, because that's when I realized it. She was like, what are you afraid of? Like, cause I kept like saying no, but then giving in. And it's like, what are you afraid of for the hard no? What are you afraid of? That's what she said. And I was like, I think he's gonna break up with me. I think he would leave me. And I was scared of that because I loved him. And I have abandonment issues. I have like an anxious attachment style too. So for me, it was like, I don't want this other person to leave my life, because everyone leaves my life eventually. You know what I mean? So I was like, dude, he's gonna leave. And she was like, that's crazy. Like, if the only thing holding your relationship together is sex, girl, basically, like, that can't be the glue of your relationship. And that same night, I think she said what I said earlier, like, whatever started your relationship is what's gonna end it. And it started because of sex, right? And that's why I think, like, you know what I mean? And that same night I had that realization, like, damn, yeah, that's the only thing holding us together. And then I think it was the next day, we went on, me, her, and her sister went on a run together. And when I got home, I took a shower, or right before I took a shower, he texted me and he said, we need to talk. I was like, what the heck, what? And he like wouldn't answer, and I was like, whatever. And I took my shower. And then I went in my room and he was like, do this anymore. Like, I can't keep waiting to have sex. I need to have sex. Like, I'm going crazy. He was like, you can't take away smoking and all this from me and then also expect me to not have sex. He was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm going crazy. He was like, you're always talking about God. It's like you love God more than me. Like, everything about you is God now. You're not the person I fell in love with. And he used to always say that to me after I became Christian. He would always say, you're not the person I fell in love with. You're like those people at church now. Ninja. Are you serious? Like, just, you know, that speaks in itself. Like, he wasn't happy for me. He wanted me to continue being worldly, because me being worldly was me always saying yes to sex, always saying yes to smoking so that he could drug me up and manipulate me easier. He wanted me to be that worldly, depressed, horrible person that I was before I met Christ. That says enough in itself, bro. Like, that's what he wanted me to be. He was so upset when I started Like when I found Christ, I started creating boundaries between us, and he was like, boundaries? Boundaries? How dare you, bro? That's literally what he was like, bro. In the first video that I recorded of this testimony, I put screenshots. I edited the screenshots of our breakup next to each other, and I put it in. But since God is putting it in my heart not to put it in, I can't put it in. But I was heartbroken. I was like, so basically you only wanted me for my body. I was like, so when I took away the body factor of this relationship, you don't want me anymore? I was like, after everything I've done for you, I just found out that the whole time you just wanted me for my body. And he was like, that's not what I meant. That's not what this means. I love you so much. I've done so much for you. Da da da. He was like, you're crazy. Like, basically just calling me absolutely insane for saying literally the truth. Like, literally the truth is on the table. It's this clean cut. I said we can't have. Oh yeah, and this happened because I think that like that Sunday I told him, that Sunday night I told him, hey, I texted him and I was like, hey, we are not having sex anymore because I'm gonna get baptized, and after I get baptized, I'm not having sex with you at all anymore. I said that to him the night before, so I think that's why the next day he was like, I can't do it without sex. Anyway, it's this clean cut. If I tell you we can't have sex anymore, and then you say, okay, I don't want to date you then, what do the cards say? What do they say? That's what you wanted me for. It's that simple. It's that simple. We don't gotta write paragraphs about how I'm freaking crazy and insane and mental. Anyone can look at that and be like, oh, so that was what was most important to him in the relationship, is that period. And he was still trying to manipulate me up until the last minute about how, like, that's not what he means at all. And he was like, he literally just kept saying, like, if you have sex with me, we won't have to break up. That is so foul to say to somebody. Like, if you just keep having sex with me, we don't have to break up. Like, that's insane. And basically, I said to him, like, you're trying to make me choose over you or God, and I choose God. Like, are you serious? Like, you really think I'm gonna choose you over God? Like, what is that? Like, the creator of me, the creator of the universe? Are you serious? After this, I went through a lot for a whole week. I cried a lot. Oh yeah, the exact day after I think it was the same day, bro. No, it was the next day. The very next day after we broke up, I started my first day at work. So I got hired prior to this, and literally the exact same day after we broke up, I started working. So that's how I know he was like a blockage in my life. Do not choose anyone or anything over God. That is my biggest moral of the story ever. Because the second that I let this man go, I started working the very next day. Like, are you serious? And yes, it was horrible. Like, I was I was so heartbroken and depressed, and I had to put on a face like I was fine because I was at work and it was my first days at work. Like, I had to be on my best behavior. I had to be on my best behavior because, like, they just hired me, bro. Like, and I'm gonna show up crying or acting a wreck or calling in. They're gonna fire me immediately, and I hadn't had a job for like 4 months. 4 months, no money. And, like, I'm in debt, so, like, my credit card fell behind. Like, debt collectors were trying to kill me, basically. Like, bro, I needed this job. I wasn't playing about this job. I prayed and prayed and prayed for this job, and I got it, so I was not about to lose it. So, yes, I took my heartbroken self to work, and I worked. Yes, I did. And in these couple of days, you guys, I hope this isn't gossiping. Lord, if this is gossiping, let me know. In these few days, I was still in love with him after we broke up. So we were still texting and blah blah blah, and a girl texted me and sent me a screenshot of him like getting in contact with her, and it was multiple girls. So, like, I think it had been 2 days. Like, we had been broken up for 2 days. We dated for 3 years. And he was already texting other girls. And I remember I snapped on him. I was like, are you serious? You have been telling me these past 2 days that you still love me so much and you want to get back together one day and da-da-da, and you're already texting other girls? He was like, I'm just texting them because I need female advice. I need advice from a female. I was like, you have so many guy friends. And you have a girlfriend that's gay. Like, are you serious? He was like, guys don't give advice like females do. I need female advice. Does he think I'm dumb? I think he thinks I'm dumb. You guys, I think he thinks I'm dumb. Because he had manipulated me for so long that my brain was so clouded. I think he really thought he was going to get away with that one. Honestly. But anyway. No more gossiping. So, I didn't know yet that I had been abused this whole week. So this whole week I was so heartbroken and missing him, and I did not know I was abused. And then one night, well, I met up again with him this week because, just long story, I don't want to get too into it because gossipy again. But I met up with him one more time on a Saturday, and I had the worst panic attack I've ever had in my life upon seeing this man again. It honestly felt like my chest was gonna collapse in words. That's how bad his panic attack was when I saw him for the last time. And when I got home that night, I was extremely depressed, and I think God placed this video in front of me. It was a video by Psych2Go about abuse. And I watched it, and after watching it, I finally realized, wow, I was mentally abused. And that's why this and this has happened, and that's why I've been feeling this way and that way. And when I finally realized that I was a victim of abuse, I was like, praise God. I was finally grateful to God for this, because while this was going on, I was so depressed, and I was like, God, why? Like, why is this happening? And I was just like so heartbroken, and I was calling out to him like, help me, I'm so depressed, I can't breathe. And then after I finally realized I had been abused, I was like, praise God. Literally that song. Came to set us free. I am no longer bound. That song. That part. Like, I immediately, like, was so grateful. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, you saved me. Like, you saved me out of this relationship. You saved me. And I remember I started listening to that song. I literally repented so bad after that, because I was like, this whole week I have been so angry, so depressed, and like you saved me. So like, I remember I repented, like I got on my knees, bro. I had this whole spiritual experience with the Lord. I started singing that song. That sought the Lord, and He heard, and He answered. That part, and I was just like crying on the floor, like ah. And that part, like, when you finally like realize, like, God, you are amazing, this was perfect timing, you saved me, bro. Like, I can't explain to you how I felt that night. And then the next day at church, I like let it all out. I've never cried like that in front of anybody, but that day I didn't care. Like, I was literally at church, like, screaming, crying. I've never been like that. I was literally at church, like, ah! That type of crying. Like, I was weeping, bro. Like, no joke. The next day at church, like, I have never, like, wept like that, first of all, period, I don't think. And especially not in front of a bunch of people. I literally, like when they said come to the altar, I literally was on the floor, in the middle, in the front, screaming, crying, bro. Like, wailing. Like, I've never cried like that. Again, period. And then in front of people, like, and I didn't care what they thought, because, like, in that moment, I was just, like, crying, and I kept screaming, like, I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid. And, like, I was just repenting, you know? And, like, yeah. Because honestly, I really wanted to die. I really did. Like, let's just be completely honest. I really wanted to die. So I was repenting from that. I was repenting, like, I really wanted to die. I really wanted to take my life because of this. And, like, knowing you and your graciousness and your holiness and your greatness, I wanted to die. Like, I almost let the devil take my life right now when my life is yours. So it was like the biggest repentance I've ever had about suicidal ideation. And just like, I repented so hard. That's why I was like literally weeping, like saying like, I'm so stupid. Like, I've never cried that hard in my life. But it was so relieving. Like, after that, I only cried about him like a handful of times, like maybe like 3 times. I was so healed after that day. Like, and it's crazy because, like, you guys, let that man go. Let that man go, bro. Like, that, like, if you're not even Christian, if you're a worldly person, right, and you came across this video, if you can take one thing from this, well, obviously I want you to take the lesson of Jesus is king, you know, like, take that one first. But listen to this part. Leave that man. Like, dude, I literally was so scared of leaving this man for 3 years. I was so scared to leave because I was like, oh, I'm going to be in so much pain. I'm going to be so depressed. It's going to be this big change. It's going to be this and that and that. And you're just like, you're psyching yourself out about leaving somebody when, like, life moves on. It's not the end of the world. And I really did feel like it was the end of the world. That's why I wouldn't leave, because I was so manipulated and so, like, just like abuse victim mush that I was like just settling for this. And like, I was so scared to leave. And for what? I got over him in 1 week. In 1 week, I felt so much better just because of the Lord. The Lord healed me so quickly from that. Like, from that initial heartbreak, he healed me immediately, bro. Like, 1 week, 3 years of just like warfare, tears, abuse, all this. And I got over it in a week. Like, you guys, leave him. Period. Like, that, like, at least take that. But also, Jesus is king. And after that, well, first of all, he harassed me and I had to block him on many socials, and long story, he didn't go down without no fight. Phones die. My phone's dying. Okay, let me wrap it up. I will say, now I'm pressured. I still have a lot of trauma from that, obviously, because like after abuse, you're gonna have trauma, and I kind of just pack it up in a box and put it away, and like the actual trauma from it. And I've had a lot of random panic attacks from things that I never thought would make me panic. Like one time, for example, I was making a smoothie and I started having a panic attack because of something that happened with him, including a smoothie. So like little things like that will pop up. So I kind of just put it all in a box and put it away. But God gave me a dream recently about how I need to open that box and I need to really work through it and not be scared of it. Because if I keep holding it in, I'm just like never going to be truly happy, and I'm always going to be set back in life. So right now I'm working on really like grasping the trauma, and like I'm going to have to work through it. And it's really painful, but long term, I need to work on it right now, because yes, he healed me from the initial heartbreak, but he's still healing me from like the 3 years. You know what I mean? So, you know, guys, all I gotta say for my moral of the story for today: do not choose a man over God. Do not choose any sin over God, because eventually it will destroy you, and eventually maybe God will have to punish you how he punished me, and he's gonna have to give you some time of complete silence. And do not do that, because I have never felt so depressed. Like, you guys just saw me just remembering it. I got distressed. Yes, I did. But you know, praise God, I am so happy right now. I'm abundant. Like, I work, I got money, my car works, I got home, I got water, I got manna for the day, I got the same Bible from my first video. Look at how blurry you can't even see the words anymore. But you guys, like, I may or may not have found me another man. I won't say too much about that because we're keeping it private. But praise God, I'm very happy. I'm doing so much better. So you guys, nothing is worth it. God is good and God is on time. God, God bless you guys. Love you guys. Comment, like, subscribe.